You're listening to the BFF Black Fat Femme podcast
on the iHeart Podcast Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the award-winning Black Fat Femme podcast, where all the intersections of identity are celebrated. I'm one of your hosts, John, also known as DoctorJonPaul, and I'm simply here to say that there are no sacred cows on today's show. If you know, you know. Yes, this entire episode, we are going to be talking about that ANTM documentary because you all have been DMing us asking what are our thoughts on it. And I said, let's just put it in the show. Let's not even go to Threads. Let me not go to Facebook. Let me not go to LinkedIn. Let's bring it to the show. So that's exactly what we're doing. And I think what's going to be fun about this episode is that it's, maybe if you would have asked us, maybe I would say 4 or 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't have mattered. But I think being that we're in a different place now and we all kind of have grown up and we see how terrible the industry can be, this is going to be a really interesting conversation. So we wanted to have a conversation with our adult eyes. We're going to get into that a little bit more. The only thing is, I'm just mad I don't have a trench coat for this episode. I would have put it on.
Girl.
If I had one. If I had one, I would have put my trench coat on. And I would just be sitting here looking at you. Oh,
I ain't gonna be dressed like a detective, but be the main culprit. Girl. Make it make sense, girl. Make it make sense.
Yes, Mama had on her coat, but she was the one that everybody was trying to come after.
Yeah, she looked like Inspector Gadget wearing where's Carmen San Diego and giving us.
She sure did. She looked just like Inspector Gadget. That's gonna be the title of this episode, Inspector Tyra.
Yeah, Inspector Tyra, girl. Yes.
Yes. But how are you, my love?
Oh my gosh. Love it. It is your bestie, Jordan, aka Joho. And bitch, I'm ready to let loose this bill today because I have thoughts about everything that Miss Tyra did and continues to do, which is just like, I'm just like, girl, what? Girl, what? We have so much to discuss today. I don't need to talk about how I am because I'm just here to talk about it. Like, it's gonna be, I'm ready for the conversation, bitch.
Yeah. It's gonna be a moment. And I will say this. I recognize at the top that there were a lot of as funny as it is, it's not funny. Like I think that's the thing I've been wanting.
Well, yeah. Well, so it's not funny. And like, let me preface this as well, because folks need to know I did not watch this show growing up. I'm not a reality TV girl in many ways. I watch few shows today: Drag Race, Traders, and something else. And
I put you on the Traders.
Yeah, exactly. So. And Drag Race, I started watching in season 3. And like, I think there's a formula there as well that's similar to what happens on Duck's Not Model. But like I never loved it for the drama. I always just love it because I want to see queer people in this way. And so with American Next Top Model, like it was not a show that I watched. I was just not on stuff like that. And so it's important to note that I'm coming into this. I know things in ancillary ways. I know memes, I know clips, right? I know like the infamous crash out. I know of some things, but some things I did not know, and I watched it in the documentary. Now I watched it with my roommate who did watch, I think, let's say at least 10 cycles. So like she knew everything that was happening. And so it's bad. And it's not really, and watching it, I'm like, oh, people really like ate this up.
Girl.
And I'm curious to explore that more today as well too.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to explore. So I just definitely wanted to say that we're not coming into this from a comedy angle. Like, I mean, obviously, we're gonna laugh.
Like some parts
the one
are funny,
thing we're gonna do on this show, there were some parts that were funny there, and yes, and we're gonna laugh. But I think for us, there's still a seriousness to it all that we really wanted to get to. So we want to, and I want to say up top, I want to thank some of our listeners who reached out to me directly and was like, "Hey, I know I know you're going to cover this. And I was like, you already know it.
Okay.
I appreciate them. And I appreciate them knowing that we were going to cover it with care. I think that's the thing I appreciate our listeners reaching out to us about wanting to cover this, about they know we're going to cover it with care. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our first segment as we always do in our Still Here segment. This is where we celebrate the one and only Tisha Campbell in saying, I'm
still here.
Here. Here. And today I wanted to kind of bring to the forefront a moment for us to talk about maybe moments in our lives where we have survived and overcome. And that's really what this, I guess, kind of the theme is in this episode, right? You know, the dolls went on this show and they sadly had to go through a lot of stuff and they had to overcome, honey. And so I wanted to say for us, like, you know, before we jump into that conversation, thinking about our own things that we've gone through and we've overcome, I wanted to, and then also, again, watching the documentary and thinking about it on a deeper level, I wanted to more kind of zone in on this idea of the things or the ways that we were kind of sold a dream only to realize it was a scam. So I wanted to say, has this ever happened to you? Were you ever sold a dream or an idea and you were like, oh, girl, this is a scam, and really asking the question, what did you learn from it? I kind of wanted to start first, and then I'll let you go because I know I know you gonna drop some gems because you always do. But I think for me, I would say, y'all probably see my mic going back and forth if y'all are watching. It's probably because I'm putting lotions on my hands because my hands is ashy and it's cold. But I was gonna say, I think for me, the one thing I always say, and I want to be clear, I am extremely grateful for all the opportunities it brought me. But what I will say is higher ed was a dream that was sold to me that I believe in a lot of ways is a scam. Now, hear me out. You're probably thinking, you know, hold on, Dr. Higgins.
Hold on now, girl.
Where you going with this, girl? Because you're an educator and you work in higher ed. You are a part of the system that you ultimately are calling a scam. And I agree. Yes, I am a part of that system, being a professor who teaches Monday through Thursday. But what I will say is I do have a point to make. I think as a teen growing up with an extremely poor background, college was oversold. And I don't know if this is the case for you, but I felt like college was oversold to me because it was easy to do. And when I say oversold, it was like, go to college, go to college, go to college. It'll change your life. It'll add this, it'll add it. But no one talked to me about like, girl, there could be a potential that by the time you're finished with all of your degrees, the economy is going to be terrible and it's going to be really hard for you to pay back all them student loans. If someone would have said that to me, I probably would have taken a different trajectory. If someone said, you know, there are other ways to get up out the hood, I probably would have taken a different trajectory. And I think about this a lot. And I tell people that degrees in higher ed, you know, the thing to keep in mind is that it's still a business. Like every time we talk about higher education, it is, no matter how you slice it, dice it, cut it, higher education is still a business. And so that's really what they're doing. Like higher ed is working in tandem with these student loan people to keep people in debt, in the same way that, you know, some of your favorite brands are working with other companies to give you a credit card so you can keep shopping at their store. You know, no one also tells you about, you know, the racism you're going to face once you have the degree, the you know, the fat phobia, the anti, you know, queerness that I experienced while I was working in higher ed. And so I think this is just my fair way of saying, I wish someone would have poked me or even prodded me and said, hey, you know, Dr. Higgins, keep in mind that the goalposts will keep moving no matter how much education you have. I think I would have went into education with a very different mindset than the mindset of, oh, this is going to free me and it's going to make my life so much better. And it has. I want to make sure I make that very clear that it has. But I really think that this episode made me reflect on my own experiences. And, you know, I really want to do an episode on that in the coming weeks where we talk about the ways that Black and brown people specifically are bought and sold a dream, a la the America's Next Top Model of it all. But yeah, but what about you, honey?
Ooh, girl. So So I wrote this whole idea down what I was gonna say, but then I called it a that made me think about something else. So I'm like, where do I go in this moment? There's so many pathways to walk down today. Um,
Yes.
you know what? I will stick. I'll stick with this one. So I think
Okay.
one scam for me. There are a lot of scams in the world. One scam for me is brand loyalty. Not like for
Mm,
everything, but people who are like, oh, I only get this brand name clothes or this accessory or this vehicle or this thing. It's to me, it's a scam because, like, listen, I can respect the craftsmanship of some upscale things, but I don't always think that name brands automatically mean better, especially when it comes to price point and usage, right? Like I love a
mm,
treasure piece from a brand that you love, but I can't fathom being a person that only gets one brand of something. But my bias may be that like I'm also informed by experience of never having just one brand that I can get something everything from, right? Like being that you learn how to find pieces from here and pieces from there to find your style. So you can't go all in on one thing, right? That's a privilege
mhm.
with people for people with access, right? Like now that said, I have a example, I have a Fabletics partnership right now, right? And I sometimes joke like, oh, I only wear Fabletics. But also because they are one of the only places that I actually can get things that fit me at my size too.
Right.
Same with things like big bud press. But these bitches are also expensive. So I can't like I'm not out here buying things frivolously. And so, I'm always prepared for a brand to stop producing things in my size. Because how many times have we seen
Real.
somebody say, we're making something through 5X, and then like JK girl, she's doing a 2X instead. And then my 3, 4X ass is like,
Just get JK girl.
JK
That thing you
girl,
thought you
yeah,
liked,
it's
we don't
gone
make it
now.
no
It's gone
more.
now, diva. Like
Mhm.
you got call it a crop top or get a moo moo. How about a good damn day? Like I think it's with that with things. It's not with cars. Like I don't care. I don't care if you're whipping a Benzie, a Lambo, or a Kia.
Mhm.
Don't whip a Ford to me. Like don't whip me a Ford or a Chevy because those things break down. IMO, as
Mm.
my dad taught me. But like I don't care if you're like, oh, I must have like the like newest Benzie. Girl, it's a vehicle. I mean, yes, get the point A and point B in style and be cute, but I'm not paying that car now, and I'm definitely not gonna pay that maintenance bill. Like it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I've never like I've been like
Girl.
a brand person because all the brands do is cost you money. Money, time.
Girl, you if you knew how much I just spent on tires for
Girl. Mundane expenses cost so damn much.
oh,
Oh my God.
girl,
That's honestly,
when they told me how much them tires was gonna be for my car, I literally choked.
that's how
I
I
said, "Oh
feel.
God,
See,
oh,
I'm like that's how I'm worried about like because I had got a new
mm,
car I got a new car last year. I got me like a Kilo
yeah,
Hyundai SUV, and my tires are Michelin tires now, which is like not like
yep."
like admires me. But now I'm like, oh, if I want to keep
You
the
can't go
Michelin
back.
tires, I
You
gotta.
got to keep.
And I'm like, girl,
Mhm.
I'll find a tire place that's in the hood somewhere then for some off-brand tires. Like I do not need to get me, do not need to get me no Michelin
I hate
tires or
you.
something. Like it's wild. So
Well,
I would say
baby,
and nonprofits. I love nonprofit work. I do nonprofit work and work that I love. But girl, Scamaroo,
I have Scameroon.
Scamaroonie,
Yeah,
baby.
girl. Yeah, I think this also begs for a conversation of us doing something. And I say this on the air so when I listen back I can remember the thoughts that I have while I'm on air, but this also begs like for us to do a deeper excuse me, a deeper dive on what are all of the things that we think are scams and why they're scams because
Mhm.
that would actually probably be really really fun. So,
We
when we
should
get
find Joanna
another
Scam and bring her back for that episode and double all scam.
yes.
We brought her out
Well,
of retirement.
yes.
Well, yes.
Well,
Go
yes,
us.
yes. Let's go ahead and pull, or even invite Lacey Mosley back, the scam
Yes, a scam
goddess.
goddess. Yes,
Yeah, we
that's
can
a great
invite the
idea.
scam
That's
goddess
a great
back and say,
idea. I
"Hey,
love
girl, we're
that.
doing a whole episode on scams, and we would love to have
That's
your
a great
voice."
idea.
But yes, with that being said, now that we have named a lot of things in life as a scheme that Todd set up to hit us with the bullshit,
Ooh.
we are going to take a quick break and come back with more show.
Hey fam, we are Black and we are remixing the show a little this week to give our listeners what they asked for. So this week, we're going to go into our main category is going to be our What's Poppin' segment. so we can get into what everyone wants to discuss. But now, when by the time this episode comes out, if you have not seen the reality check inside America's Next Top Model documentary, baby, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. You're only getting half the story. So buckle up. There will be spoilers. If your plans on watching don't want to ruin it for you, go ahead and fast forward this shit. But if you have watched it, or if you're like, you're gonna spoil it for me, buckle the fuck up. So let's start the conversation with the general thoughts on the show. Or I want to start I want to start the conversation today with general thoughts on the show, but also dig into some really big topics as well. So as I said before, I did not watch this show growing up. I learned about it through parodies, memes, occasional clips. I want to know first, Sean, what was your biggest takeaway from the doc? Anything that maybe made you change your thoughts on reality TV, especially because I know you love yourself some reality television.
See, and that is where me and my sister differ. So, like, whereas for you, you don't love reality TV like that. That's all I feel like that's all I watch is reality TV. Like, I mean, yeah, there are a couple of shows that we have gotten into that are like scripted and have a couple of series, but at this point, mostly everything I'm tuning into Monday through Friday is reality TV. And so starting here is great because you also know that I've done reality TV. I've done reality TV twice. Yeah, and so it's not like a big brag or anything because the shows they didn't really do or go anywhere. But I did a really old MTV show that I'm not going to name because I don't want you going to look for it because it was terrible. But it did make it to the air. My episode did air. And this was in like 2005, 2006. If you knew me then, or if you knew me since then, you know the show. And then more recently during the pandemic, I did Nailed It. And so I'm grateful that I can say that both of my experiences were great. And I think that I think that's what made me be so okay with reality TV was because I wasn't jaded by it. But what I will say is that I think for me, thinking about my own experience, thinking about the couple of days I was on set, for doing both of the shows, because both shows were week-long filming segments. I had to be there for a week.
Oh.
I definitely can see the ways that producers try to, and so specifically the first show that I did for MTV, this was the kind of the jump off of reality TV. So they were looking to create mess. And that's what it taught me was very quickly like, oh, they don't care about the people who are on these shows. They're looking for a story. They're looking for something that's going to create a buzz, that's going to get them viewership, right? Things that they can kind of like hang on to. And this was at the cusp of, or this was right at the beginning of Next. So I don't know if you knew about MTV's Next but that was basically where they would put people on the bus. Yeah, see, again, I'm a person of a specific age. They would put male or female individuals, queer and not, on a bus, and one person would be dating all these people, and if the person got off the bus that they didn't like, the person would just say next, and the other people would come off the bus. And so that's not the show I did, but what I'm saying is that was right at the time where Next was doing exactly that was the formula. The formula was, how do we create shit? How do we create a mess? And so as I think to stay in line with what you're asking and what you mentioned at the top of the show, a lot of folks go on these shows with the hope that these shows, and specifically reality TV shows, will launch them or catapult them into a space of success. Right. And a lot of people come to these shows saying, oh, think about Danielle, right? I came on the show. I'm poor. Our lights are getting turned off. My mama's doing this. My mama's doing that. And then she comes on the show thinking, if I win, I can change my family's life. And that becomes farthest from the truth. And so I've always said, and I will keep saying it, I'm probably, I'm probably digging myself an even greater grave than what I'm already in. These execs are snakes. They are not your friends. They don't have your best interest in mind. And for you, they people fail to see that. And now, here we are. We're here in a place where now there's hundreds of women who've said these terrible, one or two of them say, I've had the worst experience. I've had this terrible, awful thing happen to me while I was doing the show, and no one was in my corner when this thing happened. So, what about you?
I think that there's a huge lesson that everyone and everything, that everything's about what makes good TV, right? Like that is the soul. That's really what I got from all of this. What is the sole motivation, or that is the sole motivation? People hurting themselves for fame, or being made fun of, or fighting, or judging each other, right? The question is, how does this help the bottom line, etc.? And if it doesn't, then like there's a door. So I think it's definitely one of the biggest lessons I got from this. I think also that that's like the people as the production side, the consumers. I think I've also learned, and it's interesting because Tyra kept saying, right, like, we give you more.
This is what y'all wanted.
You give more because you asked for it. And part of me is like, not girl. Someone made a beat, and I was like, what you won't do is gaslight me in a trench coat, because that was like bad. Because I'm also like when she said that, I'm like, I do agree that people were like consuming it en masse and were like addicted to it. Like I get the obsession. And so I get that it's important to put things into quote unquote context. Because in terms of 25 years ago being a different time, right? Like the responses, that was a different time back then. And I'm like, okay, sure. But like 21 years, like, is that true? Because at the end of the day, y'all was still adults. Like, y'all like still like what's the excuse? Y'all was still making decisions that were really bad. Like I really feel for Shandy. Like I cannot believe that was filmed, edited, and aired. I cannot believe that they made Danny and Joanne do those bio modifications on air, forcing these women to make decisions on a career that could not even lift off. Like I'm pissed for Danny, because first of all, face card baby, so sharp it could cut glass. Like
that part.
I said
her gap is the furthest of the like furthest,
like not remotely even. And if I was a contestant, now I have my gap closed, and the very next, or the 2 cycles further, someone tell me a bitch getting her gap opened to get modeling opportunities,
right,
girl?
I'd find Tyra.
I'm burning that place
find
down.
Her. Yeah,
right, so I'd find her. Change her gap and then not get any work, and then for Tyra to call her and acknowledge that and still do nothing.
Yeah.
When she called me and said, I knew I didn't do anything about it. Well, bye. Like that's what it gave me. Well, bye. Like,
click. Right.
You knew that I was screwed, and you leveraged nothing to help me. And so I think, I think also like a lesson that I got from this is that like you also just like you can't. I was like you can't even like you can't trust many people.
That part.
When you can't trust people when it's their show, right? Like when it's their show, you really can't trust that they have your best interests at heart.
Her bottom line, and that's what I've been saying online, her bottom line is viewership. Her bottom line is getting, that show picked up again for another season, so people can keep saying Tyra created this thing. Like her bottom line was never, and people keep saying, well, Tyra helped change the industry. And okay, but also we have to name that in the process of her quote unquote changing the industry, how much damage did she do?
Because that's the thing as well too, because I say this like a little bit later in my like responses, like I believe that Tyra believes that she set out to change the industry. I believe that she believes that she did.
Well, we also believe that she believes that hot ice cream is good.
That's a different conversation, babe. Don't even
the elevator,
because that
elevator don't go all the way up, girl.
Listen, she's operating off of the. You know what? Even a broken clock's right twice a day. That's the way she operates on. Is what I'm getting from this, and I'm like, you know what, girl? Like, because I guess my thing is like you, like
not a soaking clock.
Not a soaking clock.
Not a soaking clock.
Like, you do have to recognize, like, I believe that people start shows out to change something, but the machine of fame and the machine of like reality television changes
The
that.
money. Yep.
And you at some point, like
Always.
you're faced with a decision of like, I either maintain my morals and my values and I don't do this, or I go to the money and I do it. And like just say that, So that to say, I want to ask you, in what ways does the documentary suggest that the show was not just of its time, but actively abusive and exploitative from the start?
Yes. Sheesh. Um, so I love this question because I also, I think this is, I'm grateful for one of my managers who always said, think about think about the way you're being portrayed in the show, right?
Mhm.
She would always tell me anytime, someone asked me to do something for TV, anyone asked me to do something, film, whatever, television, whatever. She would always say, you want to make sure that you think about how you're going to be portrayed and how you're going to be edited.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of these girls came into this show so oblivious to the
Mhm.
idea that these execs, Tyra, I would even say the judges, because as much as we love Miss J, as much as we love Miss Alexander, as much as we love the really handsome gentleman who was
Nigel.
taking Nigel,
Mhm.
they were all complicit too. They were all a part of the problem, right? Not one of them stopped and said, you know what? This doesn't feel good anymore.
Mhm.
We should change direction, right? And so I say all of that to say that what a lot of these folks and what a lot of people don't know, and what a lot of people are not going to love about this conversation, is a lot of these shows prey on their want for fame and stability. And
Mhm.
that is part of the reason why, like I've been saying, and I'm going to keep saying, soon as the traders announced that they were going to do an American version, everybody and their mama was hitting me up and being like, John, are you going to apply? Are you going to apply? Are you going to apply? And there was a part of me that was like, oh yeah, this would be fun. And then I immediately stopped and I said, nope. I said, I'm not doing this. And I said, I know what this could do, but I also know what this could do.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, I've worked so hard to establish DoctorJonPaul as one way. The thought of going on this television because I want to quote unquote elevate my brand, it's scary. It's
Yeah.
really scary because I like this documentary, and I know things have changed, but I'll be honest, not a lot in reality TV has changed, because I have friends who currently work on reality TV shows, and they're telling me
Mhm.
what's happening on 90 Day Fiance. They're telling me what's happening on Love at First Sight.
Mhm.
They're telling me all the stuff that's happening, on the back end of these new shows that are coming up, and I'm going, nah, I think I'm good, right? I think I'm good. And I think that's what people miss. A lot of folks come on these shows and they want fame, and but that might be like 25% of it, of why someone would go on the show, even knowing what they know about the journey. Many of
Mhm.
the dolls who went on this show were looking for a means to do something they loved.
Mhm.
And the industry, specifically this system, this machine you named, it broke them. It broke them, right?
Mhm.
It's no different than us going to college, but not enough of the girls were told, get, there's a possibility that the show is going to break you down to the lowest of your low.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of the girls came into the show not knowing that. And I think that's where the abuse and the exploitation started, right? It was seeing that these girls were coming in very, very, I hate to, I know I might sound crazy. I hate to say it. They come in dumb, because that's really what it is. And not to call them dumb. I want to be very clear that
Well,
when I use the word dumb,
they come in very green and
mhm,
impressionable and suggestible, right? Because they're
yeah,
there to learn and to grow. So
yeah,
they come with like sparkles in their eyes, and
hmm,
they're told you gotta do
and
whatever you gotta do
and
to,
they don't know.
yeah.
They don't know. They're ignorant. I guess that's the right word to use, not dumb, but they're very ignorant to how TV and television, and especially TV and television in the 2000s. Because yes, you're right. Things have changed a little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
But the 2000s was wild. Like,
Yeah.
to
We was
live in
getting away
that
with
moment and
everything.
to,
Like,
oh my God, it was terrible, And so I think that for me is where my mind is with that question. But I guess the question I wanted to ask to you, after you respond is, they did blackface not once, but twice.
okay. Let me respond to what you first said first
Woo!
before I get into that. Cause who? So like I don't to me it's like to me it really is less about like I understand I understand your point about they're ignorant and like in the sense of like not like an active sense of them ignoring it, but more of like they did not know, right? Like
They don't know what they don't
they did
know.
not know, right? Like they're oblivious to what's happening. This and the Ken and Tyra or whoever was like, we told them what they were signing up for. But like like if you're telling me, hey girl, it's all being documented, I'm like, okay, sure. But like I don't really know what that means. Like, but like I'm sure there's using jargon. I'm sure that they're like using language that also doesn't clarify what's happening and what will be used, right? And so
Right. Right.
it's like, yeah, sure, you know that you're gonna be recorded, everything you do, but you don't know how it's gonna be used, or to the point where that was made, like what's the story that you want to tell with it? Because right, like this is why a show like Love Island, I think people love so much because from my understanding, right, like the cameras are just rolling the entire time and what you're watching is just like in
Right.
real time. No, I'm sure there's a
Right.
little bit of editing, a lot of editing because like they're recording 24 hours a day and but you're not watching 24 hours a day, right? But like I think people love that show because that to some people feels more organic. And I also think,
Yeah.
to your point about like not being on traders, because I've been thinking about applying myself actually, but my mind is like you have to play a very smart game, like
Yeah.
not in the show, but to be on a show like that, because you have
Yep.
to come in knowing what character you want to be in this show, and knowing that you will have likely no, you will. It is very hard to control your image in a show like
Mm-hmm.
that unless you are like saying and doing the right things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I know that if I was on Traders, I likely would be the girl who always talks about race. And I will be. Because I will every round table be like, are y'all being racist? Are y'all being homophobic? Are y'all being fatphobic? I will ask that. And
What are we doing
right,
today? What are we doing today, girl?
I will
Yes.
come in and
Yes.
I will make my own story because what they won't do is gaslight me on camera with me on camera. Like, no, I'll give you a story, girl, but you will make sure you use that story for sure. It's like
Right. You know, what you won't be doing is
okay.
making me
You
look
ain't
like
give
Boo
me
Boo
a
the
villain
Fool.
edit, bitch. I'll give myself the edit. I'll come in editing
Right.
myself. Don't even try to edit me.
Yes.
It's like
You pointing at the cameras. I know y'all
I
gonna
know
get me as the villain.
America, if you're watching, these bitches lied to you. Because the thing is like
Yes.
you gotta play a very
You do.
very tight game in a show like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like you know it now, right? It's like I'd be curious in cycle 25, right? Which I won't watch, but I'll be curious of how people
Oh,
come in
absolutely not.
wielding themselves then, because it's all different now. Um
Mm-hmm.
okay, to your question about the blackface, girl, I audibly gasped. My roommate my roommate sat with her hands folded, like very Tiffany Pollard New York style, glasses on, looking forward. And she was like, Jordan, I don't think you're ready for what you're about to see. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, I have two words, ethnic swap. And I was like, what do you
Mm.
mean? And she was like, you'll see. And I said,
Mhm.
okay. Girl, my flabbers were gasted because how, how Tyra say, I thought I was showing how beautiful blackness is when you were doing blackface.
Yeah.
Again, I believe that she believed at the time that she thought she was doing what she was doing to uplift blackness and black women. But like, girl, you know the history of blackface and it's racist. It's racist. Like what? Like
It's so
what?
funny to
It
me.
was that. It was right. It was that cycle. Right, just doing, and then out here, and then out here calling a white girl a sister. Like, oh, you like a sister? She's like, oh, I know, I felt it. That led a generation of white women to say that they have an inner black girl inside them, and I
Yep.
not stand for that bullshit. Okay, and then to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
another cycle where she's having a white girl dress up as Native American, wearing a headdress. Girl, what? Like,
What are we doing here?
what are we
What are
doing
we
here?
doing?
Like, and I'm like, you cannot, girl,
Off the
you
rails.
can't reclaim shit Besides, you can't,
Mm.
like, you aren't reclaiming shit besides pushing for oppression and racism. Like, what you're
Yeah.
doing is just reclaiming
She was
oppression.
traumatizing them, and I think that's the thing for me. I really, not to take away from your from this conversation, but I there's no way for me to actively, because even Jonathan was like, "Oh, I would love to do a rewatch," and I was going, "Actually, I really don't want to rewatch this show."
If
Like,
this is what was happening,
these women,
I don't watch it at all because
right? It like
it looks
they were being
really
traumatized.
painful. It looks
Yeah,
really hard
they
and
were being
challenging.
traumatized.
It looks sad.
Hmm.
It looks like seeing who was the girl? The girl that was getting like the male model kept touching her, and she was like,
Oh yeah,
uncomfortable, and
and that was
then
the one that they gave the elephant
they were
one to.
all, and then they were
Hmm.
that that also. How you gonna give me the elephant edit? Oh, okay. Also, bitch, how am I gonna tell you my mom got shot, and then you gonna give
Yeah.
me the
Uh-huh.
shot in the head model?
Domestic violence one.
What?
Yeah.
What? Like,
Yeah.
because riddle me this. Now, I have limited experience with modeling. I've done a few
Mhm.
little things here and there.
And you're a damn good
Not
one.
once has an agency been like, show me a spread of like you doing show me like your drug spread. Show me your model
Yeah.
violence spread. No one asked for that. There's there's
Mm-mm.
there's no agency that's like, no, I would love to have a model who looks like she got shot. No, a model who
Yeah.
looks like she's on coke. Like, no one's saying
But
that
that's also
whatsoever.
what there was a girl in the show saying that. She was saying that Tyra basically set them up to fail
Yep.
because a lot of the challenges they were doing were the photos that they were using. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, like I said, we're not
Like,
going to be able to cover
yeah.
everything,
But like,
but
I want to be like, Tyra,
mhm.
I just need you to clarify for me what.
What is this for?
Well, because what did you do these things when you were
Right.
modeling?
What is this
Because if you
for?
weren't, then what was this all for? So
Yeah.
it's just it's really really upsetting. I was literally watching mouth agape for 15 straight minutes watching the blackface. I was like, this is wild. And I
Oh,
think
okay. Mhm.
beyond the internalized racism oppression we saw on the show, I also go on record to say that a lot of the phobia we see on television or witness in real life, right, is a byproduct of shows like America's Next Top Model. Looking at
Say
you,
it.
Janet
You're not
Dickinson.
wrong.
Looking at you, Janet
Yep.
Dickinson. Like,
And that's also, before you go on, I know you have something else to say about something. Before you go on, Janice, you're also, because I know you're on that new doc that's coming out in a couple
the
weeks, and you
Hulu
trying to
one.
paint yourself. Yeah, you trying to paint yourself
There's
like you
no
didn't have no hand in
she
this.
try the way the trailer is
Hmm.
like it was a Tyra show. You were calling girls cows on here. Like,
Yeah,
let's wake it up, girl.
ugly.
Like
Everything else.
just
Everything else.
you are not a Zov girl. But
No.
something about being on a reality TV show makes people feel emboldened to comment on you, your life, and your
Yeah.
body, right? Like that's also it's kind of like one of the reasons why like I never want to get not never, but like I have a challenging relationship with the idea of getting too famous because I don't want anyone to feel emboldened to comment on me, my life, or my body in that way. You
Yeah.
don't know me. You don't
Right.
know me. So like
That finger
don't
point.
you don't know me, girl. Not like that. I will cut you. Like, do not do that
That's
to
the one
me.
thing. I swear, every week, that's the one thing I know about my sister is when she points, is
You
she's
don't
definitely about to make a really good point.
like it's
And
just
every
like
time I see that finger come out, I'm like, oh, here we go.
cause like
Mhm.
you don't know who I am, baby girl. You don't pay the bills. You don't
No.
pay my therapy costs. You don't
Nope.
even like you weren't even my friend. You don't help my mama. Like you do nothing for me in my life. So that is like right. So it's like a part. It's like also the, there was no sharing of to the girls of like what happens after this show. People might see
Mhm.
right like cycle one. Of course you don't know. But when you start realizing by the third cycle what's happening, you start telling the girls by the end of this, people may look at you differently and attack you for it, right?
Mhm.
Anyways, I can go on, I can rant about that for hours. I want to ask you, how do you think race and body size intersect on this show as well too? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very clear answer, but like, For example, when weight gain is framed differently for a Black woman than it is for a Latina woman or a white woman on the show.
That's a really good question. And like I said, I wish we had like a lot of time to like really dive into all of this, because a lot of this show, especially kind of the same thing. I mean, we did the same thing when we were talking about the Biggest Loser documentary, right? When we covered that a couple of
Mm-hmm.
months ago. I think it's folks have to understand that it's so much big. Like, as much as it's just a reality TV show, it's not just a reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people go to these shows to make and to take in this content, to make informed decisions about how they're going to treat certain people. And so when you have a show like America's Next Top Model that is really perpetuating this notion that a size 6 woman is a size 25 or a size 26, that's where the problem
Mm-hmm.
starts. And so the one thing I kept thinking about, was literally at the forefront of my mind the entire time, was how the Black women on this show, specifically Black cis women, and let's talk about it, because
Mm-hmm.
Tyra's trying to warm it up. She even talks about, oh, we had a trans woman on the show. We were the first show to ever do it. That, like, ISIS experienced a lot of hatred.
I do not think ISIS sits here and is like, "Thank you for my career," because
No.
like my roommate was pointing out, like ISIS was a background girl for a
Yeah.
little bit. I don't think you launched your career like that, like
And
Tyra.
she was harmed a lot. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing people need to also understand, is that the internet was not kind to ISIS, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody from ANTM stepped up to speak up for her. So I want to name that, but I definitely just want to say that the Black women were critiqued harder, and it's very
Mm,
evident. It's also not lost on me that white plus size women,
mm-hmm.
that a white plus size woman won the show,
Okay,
while women like Takara were
wake that up.
literally berated
Wake
for
that up,
simply
girl.
having the audacity to be on the show. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the episode, I forget the name of, I think it was Yaya's episode, when they berated her for wanting to wear or not wanting to wear the hat. And they didn't really talk about this in the documentary, but there's a specific episode where Yaya, who was a contestant, basically, for those who know, they'll know, they gave her like a kente cloth hat, and they were telling her to wear it. And she said no, because she said that she thought that the kente cloth looked unauthentic. She said that she didn't think that it was authentic to the look or to her and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally tore her apart. If it was not, I will say, if it was not for Andre Leon Talley being on that episode, I'm pretty sure she would have left the show for
Wow.
the way that they talked to her
Wow.
and the way that they treated her. Andre stepped in to speak up for her. And so I will
Mm.
always give Andre credit, because I could see moments where Andre was like, this is racist. This is
Yeah.
internalized homophobia. This is internalized anti-blackness. Like, I could see Andre doing that a lot on the show. But I say all of that to say, I think what makes me more upset in all of this conversation is that Tyra acted like she didn't have a hand in any of it. If she would have came to it and said, what do you want to know? And yep, I did it. And what? Who gonna say anything to me about it? I I think I would say, okay, that's the Tyra I know. You know what I mean? And I would have said, then what's
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been. I still would have watched it, right? We would still be having this conversation. But I think for me is that I hate. I'm just gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up. Tyra gives me bully energy. She gives me bully energy in the sense of, oh, I didn't know. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. I didn't think it was gonna get to that point. Oh my God. And it's like, sis, you knew. You knew what you were doing. You knew what these other execs were doing. You knew the impact. And the other thing that really pisses me off in all of this is her playing the whole game of, well, I had it hard too, and that's just the industry. Well, if you know the industry is terrible to Black women specifically, then why are you doing this on your show to reharm, or to pass on the same harm that you experienced?
Mm.
Why would you do it? So, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. It
I
doesn't.
think it's like, I mean, it's kind of like it's like a cycle we see all a lot, right? Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the oppressed becomes the oppressor
Yeah.
because they get into a position of power, or they're the ones that like broke the door down. But rather than holding the door open or lifting others up, they like make the other person eat shit, because they're like, I ate shit for X amount of years, so you gotta do it too. And I wish that wasn't the case, right? Like, and like I want to give the credit where it's due of like Tyra really changed the game herself as a black model in the space,
Mhm.
right? Which is why I want to believe that she believes she set out the show to create this space, right? But I'm like, but like, girl, like
I
you
want to
can't
believe,
deflect.
Tyra. I want to
I want to
believe.
believe you, girl, but I can't. You can't deflect from accountability and saying I can't speak on the production side when you're the executive producer. Baby, you are the production side. Or like, well, I wasn't head of story. Girl, you are the EP. You created the show. You could tell Ken
Yep.
don't do that shit, girl. Like, right? And like her whole point about the there are no sacred cows. And she was like, and I heard that as that includes you, Tyra. Respectfully, bull fucking shit. Girl, people watch this show because of me. Like, you could I believe with my full chest, she could have leveraged her own star power and said, they
Mhm.
watch the show because of me. You are not going to threaten me, and you are not going to threaten my my friends to kick them off of the show as well too.
Right.
There are
Right.
no sacred cows will moo, bitch. I am the cow. Like
And that's
come
what I was
on.
telling that's exactly what I said. I said this and I will go on record saying this. I said, when she said there's no sacred cows, my thing is this: if you really ride for people, if you really genuinely care for people, you're going to stand up for your people. And so, like, even talking
Yeah.
about, even when we got to the part about how, what happened with Jay Alexander and what happened with Miss J and what happened with Nigel, my thing is this: if iHeart was to come to me tomorrow and say, John, this needs to change about your show. We need to get rid of Jordan. You got to get rid of Chris. We're going to go take your show in a totally different direction. I would literally say, we don't even need to finish this conversation because my show is not going to change if my people are not there. I will leave before my people get let go. Like, that's the kind of love I have for y'all, right?
Mm-mm.
And I kept thinking that if you genuinely are saying that these people are your friends and that they're your confidants and you love them and you have this relationship with them,
Two of my
then why was it
hearts.
so easy?
What heart,
Yeah,
girl?
why was it so easy for you to let an exec come in and say, there are no sacred
Because there's
cows?
no
You can
world
go
in
too.
which you weren't in the loop, and that was
Right.
abundantly clear in your freezing out of J Manuel. Like that was abundantly
Yeah.
clear as well too. Like it's just, I mean,
Mhm.
I want to be clear, right? Like I'm not trying like this the like this whole conversation, right? It like isn't a strive to like shut on black women at all, right? But
No.
we're opening up the fact that like this is a black woman who did break barriers in many ways, and then spent a big chunk of her career preventing other black women from actually getting somewhere, which is really
Mhm.
which is like really heartbreaking and sad. And like and for the folks like I think for like there's someone I follow who is not defending her, but like defending the time period we're in. And like, listen, if you were a kid watching this, like that's different. You were a kid, right? Like, if you're 13, 16 watching this shit, I'm not talking about you because like you're a kid. You're supposed to just like absorb
Mhm.
consumer shit, right?
Mhm.
Like but if you were a grown ass adult watching this, right, or being a part of this, like you did know better. Like we have always known better. And it is because we keep giving like entertainers, artists a pass for like the time period they're in. Because
Yep.
like literally like so many times we've seen someone say, well, I felt weird about that, but like it was a different time back then. That means that you actually did think it wasn't good. But you
Yeah.
said it was okay because of the culture you're in, not because you want to
Mhm.
actually fight that culture and change it yourself. Because you were
Yeah.
like, you know what? I feel weird, but like I won't say too much because I'm not trying to like mess with the bag or I'm not trying to like, which I get. Like, trust me, I get it. Like to not mess with the bag or fumble something. But like
Right.
in a moment like this, like you're the star. You were the stars, right? I appreciate you saying like Jay, Nigel, and Miss J were also complicit because I think right like I there's a huge like move on folks' part to like want to protect Miss J, which I love and I appreciate so much because I like I see how like she really did care for the girls and like yeah she and but she also said things that were out of pocket too. I
T.
get that she tried to make everyone better and she like right and did like I get that, but at the end of the day like she also still was in this show that he was still on the show for cycles and cycles and cycles that where this transpired. Like no one's absolved from that. Like same with Jay. Like,
everybody need a whooping.
Right?
Everybody.
Like I appreciate that. I appreciate that Jay was like, at this point in time, I realized this was fit. But also another thing, right? Like Jay didn't realize it was fishy until Jay was just booked as talent. Jay, when you were creative director, you didn't notice anything was fishy. Like I just have like it wasn't
fishy until you wasn't into the kitchen. Okay, girl.
Right.
Okay,
it wasn't
girl.
fishy to you. It wasn't fishy until you were until you were in the back house, but not when you were in the kitchen, like frying the fish.
Making the shit.
I don't understand.
Okay, girl, make it make sense. Just but all right.
Yeah, like again, like I'm not saying that they are as responsible as like some people were, but like
Tyra,
it's like you all have like we all have responsibility. If we are in positions of power like this, we all have responsibilities, and I wish that everyone could have like acknowledged that a bit more as well too. Personally, but
I think for me that I will say the last thing I will say on this, because I've been saying a lot online already about this and Love is Blind, but we'll talk about Love is Blind later. I will say, I think that I wish for healing for a lot of the women who are not only just, I'm hoping that the docs that they're doing, the one that is already out, the one that's coming out, I'm hoping that there was healing for them to be able to get in front of a mic and for them to relive and rehash out this stuff again for them. I hope it was a part of their process, but I also hope for success. I hope for the girls who were shut out. I think about Ebony specifically being a Black, lesbian woman who ultimately was so open about her life, and to feel like the industry turned their back on her for that. I'm wishing success to her. I wish nothing but healing vibes to the women who, and I wouldn't even say to women, to anybody who has done reality TV and has had something terrible done to them. I really hope that that you didn't deserve it. And to the people who are saying, oh, the girls have to know what that's their fault, they walked into it, blah blah blah. Fuck you. I will never get behind that rhetoric. I will never get behind the rhetoric that anybody deserves to be harmed in whatever facet, whether it be mentally, whether it be physically, whether it be emotionally. None of that, it shouldn't happen. Period. And if you decide to go onto a television show and you start to feel like you're being abused, you are being abused, and it is in your best interest to say, this does not feel good to me anymore. I think it's time for me to go. So that's kind of like my last take on it.
It just, this moment made me think about like Adore Delano in Drag Race and All Stars when
I don't want to be here.
Right, because as you're saying this, I'm like, oh, okay, but I know you and I have we have both definitely been like, why the girls guide about what's happening on Drag Race? Like they know what to expect, and I think I think in that show, I really think you do. We've seen enough now where if you go on at this point, right, everyone who goes on the show now knows what to expect, right? But I think it's a good point of Adore was someone who was like, I don't think I belong here. I know I'm not built for this, right? When Dela sent herself home, she was like, I know I don't belong here because I'm ready to go home, right?
Mayhem, right? When Mayhem sent herself home,
I don't need to do this anymore. And I think, right? And I think yes, now you do know what happens on a show like this, and you also know that you may be faced a point where you're protecting yourself is more important to say, I don't need to be here or do this anymore, right? And it's made me think as a consumer, right? I'm now as a consumer, especially watching this documentary, because I know there's gonna be a Drag Race one at some point in time, right?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh,
right. So I'm okay, so I want to have the wherewithal now to judge less when I watch the show. You'd be like, know what, girl? You are you arguing the producers are really messing you over. So okay,
Pearl is gonna have a lot to say. Sorry. Pearl is gonna have a lot to say.
And Vixen too. If they even can get her to come on, because I know she's over it, Okay, y'all, we can discuss this all damn year, but we have a little more that we want to talk about besides this. So we're going to take a quick break to work on our smiles and eat some hot ice cream. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Get out my... All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and jump, and we're going to get into the last part of the show that y'all absolutely adore. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, Pam, this week. Or I should say, for those who are new to the show or for those who are not, who are kind of filling things out around at the Black Fat Femme show, our yes, ma'am, and our no, ma'am, Pam. Our yes, ma'am are the things that we love and we celebrate and that we applaud. Our no, ma'am are the things that we oftentimes want to throw a break at. And so with that being said, this week, I simply wanted to say my yes, ma'am. We didn't in years past. So if you want to go back into episodes that we've done in February's, in years past, we've done entire Black History themed months. We've done episodes that celebrate Black history. And this year, for whatever reason, we didn't do it. So I definitely wanted to say, as this being the last episode of February, I definitely wanted to say yes, ma'am, to Black people who show up and continue to show out, even when the world tries to take it away from us. And so what I'm talking about are people, specifically even people who are part of these shows that, had really terrible things happen to them and they still managed to find success, or they've managed to go on into their lives and do things that were bigger and things that helped fulfill them. So I just definitely wanted to give all of us, every nigga is a star. Like, I want to give so much love to us for what we've been through, what we continue to go through, what we are currently going through, and what we may end up going through again. But I definitely just, there's so much joy. And I say this all the time. In no way, shape, or form do I ever want to be a different race in any other lifetime. Like, if I get a chance to do this life all over again, I beg God, please make me Black, please make me fat, please give me a little bit of a tinge of queer. There's just something so magnetic and so beautiful about it. And so I just wanted to say shout out to us during Black History Month, and knowing that we're going to make it a Black History year always. My no man Pam, very quick. I definitely just wanted to say, in the vein of Tyra Banks, Black people who don't have other Black people's back. And what I mean by that is, when something is not right, when something is an injustice, when that something is going to cause harm or is going to re-traumatize another Black person, and you're complicit and you just go along with it. Like, I'll never understand it. And the reason why I put this, is a very specific thing. And I know that I'm going long here, but this past weekend, I should say, me and my husband went to Disneyland. And very long story short, there was a Black family who, I guess, one of the people who was signing their folks in, they were African-American family. One of the people that was being signed in, or was doing the sign-ins, was in a wheelchair. And there were people in line that started yelling at other people in the family that they were cutting. And you could clearly see the Black people, the folks in the family who were African American. It was white people who were yelling at them and was like literally saying all these really nasty things to them. And I could turn around, I could just see mounds of Black people who were just standing there and just like staring and didn't say nothing, didn't do anything. So I walked my fat ass over and I said, y'all can get in front of me. I said, just get in front of us. It's cool. Like, fuck them. Like, don't pay any attention to them. Just go, right? And I say that not necessarily to say, look at me, look what I did because I'm a good Black. That's not what I'm saying. My thing is, I'll never understand in my lifetime why, when I do things, race sometimes doesn't come into play. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I see some shit happening to somebody Black, I'm gonna jump in. That's just who I am. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna do whatever I can to protect my people. And I'll never understand it. I'll never understand the idea of being okay with seeing another Black person harmed. And so for those who are listening and are going, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. It really, but after seeing the documentary, after seeing what happened in that moment, I'll never comprehend why some of us are so okay with passing on harm to other people when we know they've been through the same thing we've been through. I'll never get it. So yeah.
No skinful.
What about you?
No skinful, girl. As we've seen time and time again.
Never.
My yes man Pam is, so while watching the reality check documentary, I was reminded of the network of UPN, which I am.
You pick a Negro.
Which I am sure its problems. But UPN really was the home of so many black shows to that point.
You pick a nigga, yes.
Moesha,
UPN.
Half and Half.
Yes.
Girlfriends. This show my favorite cartoons. This show X-Men. This show Digimon. Like that network was known for being the one that had diverse quote unquote
the niggas
programming. And so I'm like, listen. Now was I glad when I found out the president at the time was a white woman? I said, oh, Miss Dawn, that's the president? Interesting. I would have never thought that. But I will give them this. They showed some really good programs. I used to watch that
The Parkers. Let's also name it. The Parkers.
I watched it every morning, and I watched it every time I went to school. UPN was my network.
Yeah.
I really was here for it. So go off UPN. That's my yes man Pam. Yeah. Now my no man Pam. Okay.
Oh,
I had told John.
Go ahead.
So I was going to say this for a rant on my own personal Instagram, but I said, let me save this for here because this makes sense. And I will be sharing this as a reel on my Instagram as well, too, because I have thoughts.
Please.
The topic is Woodwork by Grindr. So IDK, if y'all have seen, but Grindr launched their Woodwork Health vertical in 2025, which focused on providing accessible and discreet erectile dysfunction medication, right? With the aim of improving the sex lives of its users. So helping folks who may have struggle getting it up, right? Work, whatever. I don't have no thoughts about that. You know, it makes sense for the brand. You're saying we're here with an app to encourage people to create connections. And this is a way to connect. How you doing? Now, they decided to add GLP-1s to their portfolio with the aim of boosting confidence in the users through weight loss. And I think it's mad inappropriate. I don't think it even makes remote sense for Grindr, an app that has a long-standing history of, at best, allowing fat phobia, and at worst, supporting it, to expand its market into weight loss drugs. Now, from a care perspective, this is already horrible because compounded weight loss drugs are not reviewed by the FDA. Compounded means that these are drugs that are either cut differently, different dosage, right? May have different ingredients taken out of them. Now they're made by licensed clinicians, so likely FDA approved products are a part of it, but like it's not FDA approved. Now there's a question of like, what's the FDA really about these days, considering our administration, right? And that's
brainworms and that's super
fair. But there's a chance like inaccurate doses, changing drug forms, or contamination of the drug. And so like through a healthcare perspective, right? And this is like already after the rise of Roe or Hims and Hers for weight loss, right? Like and like that. Not that I support it, but like I understand both of those brands, right? They have strived to go into health in some way. Not the health I think they should be doing, but whatever. But Grindr, I was like, you have no fucking right. You have no fucking place to sit here and say, let's start doing GLP-1s and also charging $100+ for a month for like two. Like what? Like what is the message you're giving your users? Like I don't like from an optimist perspective. Why? Like just why? I don't understand what your reasoning is for saying let's have GLP-1s on Grindr. Grindr, you don't need to do that. Whoever is like running this place, you keep doing some shit that makes no sense. And like, sure, a option, right, is to not use the product. Sure, right, but or to not use the app. And I understood her on the platform, not use the platform. But for people who do use the platform, like people are on there to connect, and like we're trying to create a world in which we don't have folks who are discriminating against people based on bodies. And now you're trying and now like with this, right? This will only empower people more to be like, hey, you're a fat bitch. You should go on Woodwork by Grindr for their GLP-1s. We should also put your health at risk. Like there's just so much fucking wrong with it. Like I saw this and I was like, you are literally insane. Like this is absurd. This is out of pocket. This is just not good in general. So Grindr, I really hope pray you hear this. I pray you understand that this is problematic, like to the highest extent. You do not need to enter yourself into healthcare in this way. You do not need to like profit off of. First of all, you probably use enough by charging hella money for your for your extra shit, right? Like you already charge money. People are already paying for this shit. Not me. I will not pay for this shit. I will never pay for like even more so for this. Like you do not need to embark on this journey, girl. Turn around, do not let us go. Don't collect $200. Please don't collect $200. Like just stop from this foolishness. It looks really bad. It makes me really sad to see it. My heart hurts for anyone who like sees it and is like, oh, maybe I'll do it. Like, girl, Grindr's not your healthcare provider. Please love yourself enough to go.
Not Grindr's not.
Please.
Girl, why are you on Grindr when you need to be going to a doctor?
Go to a doctor, girl. Right? Yeah. Or like call one of the other ones that have more like actual care. It's not this.
And I keep saying it, like there's so much. Oh God. I know that we were saying we were going to go shorter this week, but I'm like, here we are and we got to talk about it. I keep telling people there is so many risks or things that come along with taking a GLP-1 that it's scary to me to think that you're just going on this random site, you're talking to a random doctor and you're saying, give me this thing that could potentially make me skinny. And we're not talking about the side effects. We're not talking about what happens when, I mean, I'm gonna just be real. When I got on my GLP-1 and like I said, I didn't get on it because I was there for weight loss. I got on it and I'm gonna keep saying I got on it because I had diabetes and they were trying to get my diabetes under control. I was dealing with diarrhea. I was dealing with loss of appetite. I was dealing with sleep issues because my stomach was hurting so bad. I've literally just got to a place. I've been on Ozempic for a year. And yes, I've lost a little bit of weight. And I will say my life has changed in a little bit of ways. Yeah, I can ride my bike a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm not as tired, blah, 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 blah. Okay, everybody, let's laud Ozempic as this thing that's okay, we can. But what I'm also going to tell you is it took me a year to finally get to a place where I feel like I have a normal appetite. A normal appetite. I'm just starting to feel like I can eat a meal and not feel sick. Or that I can eat a decent sized portion meal and not want to throw up. Like those are the things nobody is talking about. And what I will say with that, the reason why I share that is not to say, look at me, I'm doing Ozempic the right way. No, I'm saying that because I had a doctor who I literally was chatting with every single week about these side effects that I was dealing with. A doctor I trust who was helping me work through, putting me on medicine for the nausea that I was dealing with, upping and dropping my dosage to making sure that every month I was doing blood work to make sure that my A1C was under control and making sure my blood pressure wasn't out of whack. Like no one's thinking about this. Everyone is so hell-bent on I just want to lose weight that I'm going, okay, y'all, you're going to kill yourself. And you're not.
Yeah, girl.
And I hate saying it. But I'm going like,
will you feel confident if you're shitting yourself? Will you feel confident if you got cramps? You won't.
You won't. So like, it just feels like we're in this place where vanity is such a thing. And I'm just going, baby. And and like I said, I'm going to keep saying it. You lose the weight and then what? And then what? You lose the weight and then what?
Well,
right?
and let's also discuss to this point about this is why it would be best to connect with your healthcare provider, because most folks who get off this medication then gain that weight back. Which, like, listen, I'm all for body autonomy. Do what you want to do with your body. I'm not saying, if you're providing care, right, you then have to continue providing consistent care throughout the duration, the duration of that person's care, and like, Grindr won't do that. Respectfully,
nope.
Like your health provider will. So like you need, like when you meet your goal weight and you get off of it, what will happen then? And it's just people are not.
What was the reason?
One's clocking. No one's clocking. It's not clocking to anybody.
Yeah,
like,
is it not clocking to you that we're standing on business when we say that? And like I said, if you are listening to this show and you are entertaining the idea of being on a GLP-1 and you want to have a real conversation with me about my experience and the things, the yes and the no's, or the yes ma'ams and the no ma'ams of a GLP-1, I'm happy to have that conversation with you. But what I'm saying is people keep lauding this drug as this miracle thing that's supposed to change your life and it's supposed to make you so happy. And I'm going, baby, a lot of what I've had to deal with just to keep my sugar in control, if I could just jump off of it, I would. I really would. If my doctor said, oh, you don't have to use it anymore, I would be so happy to get off of it because so much of my life has changed because of it. And it's not changed in a good way. And I really want people to like stop and think, baby, like think about what you're putting in your bodies. Yeah. I also want to ask the question, I'm going to say this and then we got to move on. I think it's funny, and I'm going to keep saying, I think it's very funny how people were so anti-vaccines, but they every time get a chance to do a GLP-1, they run for it. They gonna jab themselves anytime they get a chance.
I've been saying that on this too. Like we been sounding that alarm. Like
now, let's be real, girl.
Y'all jumping for any injection that caused you to look to quote unquote look thin. But God forbid someone says take care of your real health by getting a vaccine. You're like, no, I'm good.
Did you get your flu shot? Did you? No? Okay. All right. Okay, girl. All right. Well, anyway, please send us your thoughts, your feedback, and email to blackfatfempod@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. Thank you to one of our listeners who sent us they sent us an email last week. I promise you, baby, we appreciate you sending your emails, and we will get back to you if you have sent us an email. But you also can send us your thoughts via social media by interacting with our post on Instagram and Threads, where we use the handle BlackFatFemPod. Joho, Queen Joho, where do you want the dolls to find you this week?
If you love what I'm saying, you can follow me at Joho Daniels across all socials. My website, JonDaniels.com. If you hate what I'm saying, you can find me. You can pay me to shut up, and I will send you my Venmo information. Okay. If not there, you will find me slapping hoes who's trying the GLP-1s from Grindr, because I just think that's wild. And I will slap a bitch and say, you can't do it. Don't do it, girl. Go to your doctor. Go to your clinic. Go to your nearest center clinic. Like, go somewhere else where there's a medical professional, like an actual one that works there. Not like, not some backwoods clinician that you find on an app. That's just not the one, girl. Not the one.
Not backwoods. Ooh. It's giving back swamp, honey. Oh,
it's giving the white
not
refrigerator.
A white refrigerator. Yeah, not a white refrigerator. Let's go find you a home. Let's go find you. Ooh, Velvet is where you live. Is this where you live? Ooh, girl, let's go find you a home. Well, as for me and my household over here, on socials at DoctorJonPaul, where I talk a lot of shit, honey. I've been talking a lot of shit and running it up. Online, you can visit me at www.drjonpaul.com, where you can learn more about my consulting, my books, catch it, and where I will be each and every week. I'm these next couple of weeks, I'm supposed to be all over the place. And so if you want to catch me somewhere, just check out my website. It'll be there. Otherwise, you can catch me on Hulu talking about the amazing Black Fat Femme podcast, the award-winning Black Fat Femme podcast, on the show Who I Am Meant to Be, where I'm talking very openly and honestly about being queer and helping to create a platform with a show such as this. This has been another show. Stay black, fat, femme, and fabulous. And remember what, Joho?
We may not be your cup of tea, girl, but add some lemon to your water and get into that skincare, baby. You need a good little cleanse anyways, especially if you're going to try that GLP-1 for your life. Don't do it, but if you're going to do it, it's a little water in your body too, boo.
Yeah, you got to be hydrated. I'll also say this before we close, that yes, it is cold, but just because it's cold doesn't mean that you don't need aluminum in your deodorant. I will see you all next week. I love us for real.
You're canceled.
Talk soon.
Canceled.
Bye, y'all. Bye. See you next week. Bye.
The Black Fat Femme podcast is executive produced by Joey Pat and Dr. John Paul.
All content related to the show is edited by Chris Rogers.
This has been a podcast by iHeartMedia and Dr. John Paul, LLC.
The Black Fat Femme podcast,
where all the intersections of identity are celebrated, honey.
I know that's right.